What's up, YouTube? This is Quan, the Urban Sportsman. I'm coming at you guys today with the Southeast Michigan fishing report. This report is actually coming from the DNR's website, but I actually have it on my blog as well, so you can check it out there or on the DNR website. I'll link it there. There are some differences between the two. If you go to my blog, you'll notice that it has links to nearby lakes based on the areas or based on the areas that they speak about within the report, and you'll also find links to nearby bait shops just to make the fishing easier for you guys and make finding areas to fish a little bit easier. So I want to read it from my laptop just to make it a little bit easier on me, because it's pretty short this time, but they got some interesting information. First thing, talk about Lake Erie. Right now the DNR is doing their annual walleye, pretty much a check, the assessment to see the year class of walleyes that are out there, size, that type of deal. So they have I'm pretty certain they have long, like, seine nets going across in certain areas. It actually has it listed here on the report, and I'll read it to you guys. The DNR will continue its annual walleye assessment near Monroe through October 12th with gill nets set near Stony Point and Luna Pier. Avoid navigating in between the large orange staff buoys, and be sure to give the research vessel some room. The perch bite continues. Pick up, with most boats getting 30 to 60 fish, as well as a good number of limit catches in the morning or afternoon in 22 feet of water in Breast Bay, 22 to 26 feet of water southeast of Stony Point near buoys 1, 2, 5, and 6 off the River Raisin. Also in 23 feet of water near the dumping grounds and in between the E-buoy and Ohio waters. Anglers are getting a 13 to 15 inch perch off Stony Point and at the dumping grounds. Most were using emerald shiners or fathead minnows on perch rigs with green, orange, red, or chartreuse spinners and or beads. Walleye were caught in 15 feet of water in Breast Bay when trolling spinners or with dipsy divers. Weeds were making it difficult for those trolling. Good bass fishing has been going on along the shoreline and near the harbors. A good number of largemouth and small waffle caught along the seawall and at the mouth of the Frenchtown Harbor off of Sterling, Bowles Harbor, Toledo Beach Marina, and at the hot ponds with spinners, topwater frogs, crayfish, green pumpkin, and watermelon worms. Let's talk about the bass thing real quick. It's that fall. It's the time of year. It's the fall. The fall bite is on everywhere. I've noticed. I was out on Newburgh in the last week, and they're getting bass pretty good on spinners. On spinner baits, also on wacky rigs, and on top water in the morning. Same thing is happening on Lake Erie. And if you're catching the marinas, anywhere near the hot ponds, you're going to catch largemouth in abundance, and you should be doing pretty well on smallmouth if they haven't moved a little bit deeper on you. The next area to talk about is something that I put in there, and that's Belleville Lake, because that's what I've been fishing the last few weeks. The walleye fishing for me has been going pretty well. I won't say exactly where I'm fishing on Belleville Lake, but this year period, Belleville Lake has been pretty stinking good on walleye. I've been getting them on because I'm using my kayak. I've been trolling crawler harnesses and Lindy rigs, mostly with either a leech or worm. Doing pretty well. Since the turnover started, I've been fishing more toward the eastern end of the lake, whereas earlier in the year I was fishing toward the western end of the lake in the more than like 9-foot range of water. But I'm fishing a little deeper now. I'm doing pretty well. Only thing about Belleville, just like with Ford Lake, there is still a good amount of the algae from the algae bloom we had a few weeks ago out there. And also, I'm not sure if it's still under advisory from that chemical spill from upriver in the Huron River. I have to look into it. I'm not really sure. I haven't been keeping anything as a result of that. I've just been trying to work this walleye thing out and perfect it. Be aware that if you're fishing for the Belleville Lake for walleye, you're going to have some bycatch. I was catching pike, white bass, white perch, and smallmouth. So be aware of that. Another thing, if you can find the right areas, the crappie bite is also on Belleville Lake. I caught a few of those as bycatch, which I knew the area that I was in. I wasn't shocked that I caught a few. Same thing with the Huron River. The Huron River, the fall bite is on for smallmouth. I got down there and caught quite a few smallmouth on hair jigs, and also on spooks. So they are hitting on top water. There was a couple guys down there using wacky rigs when the water was a little bit lower, and they were doing really well as well. So the fish are in and doing quite well. If it were me, if I was getting out, it would be jigs for me. It would be either Ned rigs, hair jigs, and if I can get out early in the morning, or if I come across shad blowing up, I'll be throwing a spook or whopper blopper, and you're definitely going to catch fish. As far as the Detroit River goes, I'm going to read this and then I'll give my own synopsis, because I know a couple of other places where the fish are biting as well. In the Detroit River, the yellow perch are moving in and were caught in 10 to 12 feet of water around the islands, or 14 to 17 feet at the mouth. Most perch were taken with minnows on spreaders. Walleye were caught around Calf Island. Anglers were trolling, jigging, and handlining. If you fish the Detroit River, you know that's pretty much the only three ways that people are going to fish it. They're going to troll, jig, or handline, with a lot of guys handlining this time of year. I do have the link on my blog showing exactly where Calf Island is when it comes down to the Google Maps. So if you want to check that out, you can click on it. It'll show you exactly where that is. As far as perch, this time of year, there are a couple places that I know are doing pretty well. Down in Wyandotte, they're doing pretty well. I believe that's Bishop Park. It's either Bishop Park or Bellinger Park. I always get the two mixed up, but it's in Wyandotte off Jefferson. Also, behind the post office of Detroit, they're doing just fine behind the main post office, catching perch there. And on the back end of Belle Isle by the lighthouse, they're catching perch there as well. Back end of the lighthouse by Belle Isle, if you're fishing for perch, try to pitch out to that first weed line that you can see, and you'll catch your limit out there. Be aware though that you're going to catch a bycatch of smallmouth, and you might catch a few walleye as well, because they tend to sit in that area. Macomb County. This one, I think they kind of had an error when they put this in, but I'll read it to you anyway. Anglers started jigging for walleye on the inland lakes. The bites started to pick up with the cooler weather. Most were using blue-colored jigs, plastics tipped with a minnow. Panfish are starting to show up in the canals. I think they were talking about Lake St. Clair, not inland lakes, because Macomb County has very few inland lakes that are public. Just keep that in mind when you're talking about the walleye bite, especially the canals for panfish. That's something that's going on down in this area, in the Trenton area as well. The panfish are moving back up into the canals as well, feeding up. Lexington and Port Sanilac. Pier and shore anglers at Lexington caught 1 or 2 Atlantic salmon per day. Fewer fish were caught during a warm-up this week, as it appears they moved back out to deeper water. A few pike were also caught. This was done a couple of days ago. So with this cool down that we just got, I'm assuming that the action on the piers will pick back up, because the fish will be moving back in close to feed. Let's hope so. So when you get out there, I personally root for people to catch fish when they get out. I hate to see people get skunked, but my hope is with this cool now, the bite will turn back on. It's all about Port Austin. A few fish were caught from the docks. I'm not familiar with that area. I can't really say much about Port Austin. I'll do some more research into it, call a couple bait shops for next week's report and see what I can find out. And then let's talk Saginaw Bay. Saginaw Bay had a few anglers off of Eagle Bay Marina, but a couple good catches of perch were taken in 8 to 13 feet of water. Some perch were also taken from the old State Bridge in Quanacasi. Those fishing in Inner Bay did well for bluegills, with some nice fish caught by shore anglers at Finn Road at 11 feet of water and northeast of Silverwang off Pop's Place. Bluegill were also taken by the shore anglers between Silverwang and Bayport. The bite was best when the sun came out. A couple bass boats at Bayport caught a few largemouth close to shore. When the weather allows, anglers can find a good-sized smallmouth out near North Island. For the Saginaw River, there's not much to report. A few perch are being caught near Smith Park, Workstone at Workstone at Essexville. That's pretty much it for Southeast Michigan. Like I said, we had that weird warm up this week, so I'm sure that's got fishing kind of going a little weird, but it should be going right back to normal. Get out there. I'm sure if you are like me, you're trying to get out to the west end of the state or a little further north so you can catch a few of them salmon before they're all gone. At least get on that bite and enjoy it while it lasts. And also, it's ice season is coming up, so that's my thing too. I'm kind of preparing for that and getting ready, and hopefully want to get out in a couple of weeks and do some squirrel hunting so I can get some tails to tie some jigs. Beyond that, have fun out there, guys. Be safe, take a kid fishing, and please like and subscribe. I'll have the next video coming up right after this for the southwest end of the state. Thanks again for watching.